Well, good afternoon. This is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred. Really glad you could join me today out here in the vegetable garden. You know, it's a beautiful day here in the fall. In fact, you know, today is October 16th. And so, you know, today I thought we would do end of season harvesting of my King Arthur green bell peppers. So thanks for joining me today out here in the vegetable garden. So these green bell pepper plants behind me, the King Arthur variety, I ended up planting these like third week of May here in Pennsylvania, Zone 6. I always wait for about a week once our frost date's usually around May 15th, and so I wait about one more week after that. I ended up buying these transplants from Ray's Nursery nearby. A 6-pack of them cost me about $1.60, so it's very, very reasonable for me to buy these. But anyhow, these pepper plants have just been producing all year long. And so, being it's October 16th today, you know, we haven't really had any frost yet. We may have had a really light frost, but anyhow, it's expected to get a little bit colder this week. And so, I thought we would harvest these peppers before the frost hits them. And because my wife and I, we like to dice these peppers up, and then we put them in our freezer and store them all winter long. We like to use them in our chili, or I make a big batch of beans every week. And I used to even stuff these with rice and beans, but we just love our green bell peppers here. And it's something I would really encourage you to grow a lot of, because we love our tomatoes and our peppers. I also have some jalapeno peppers right over here that I grew. And so let's take a closer look at some of these pepper plants. How you doing there, Bailey? I see Bailey's joining us out in the garden today. So anyhow, I grew these under black plastic. You know, the black plastic really warms the soil up early in the season. It holds in the soil moisture, and also you know, you can say goodbye to weeds, because weeds become a thing of the past when you end up growing your vegetables under black plastic. This is where the area here where I grew my tomatoes, and under that row cover I have my broccoli plants. But you can just see all the peppers hanging on these plants, ready to harvest. And you know, the longer the peppers stay on the plants, then they start to turn red, and that's why you see some red peppers that are there on the vine. But they really are a beautiful, healthy plant. I grew these in my composted leaf mulch, amended with topsoil. And so why don't I grab my Longaberger basket, and we'll start harvesting some of these beautiful King Arthur peppers. And so what I have here too is I have 3 rows of 7 plants, and then I have one more in the front, so I have about 22 plants here. And so I definitely want to get all these picked before the frost hits, and then get these diced up and put them in the freezer. And so this has been a great variety for stuffing, for making stuffed peppers as well. But we have just gotten so many peppers from these plants this year that, you know, they'll last us until next season. But it's a beautiful day here today in October. It's not real hot out, and we had some nice sun earlier. And that's another thing when you grow green peppers, you know, same as your tomatoes, you want to make sure that you have a good 6 to 8 hours of sunlight. The more sun, the better. Anything that has a root or a fruit, you want to always make sure you have 6 to 8 hours of sunlight. You know, some of your greens like your kale and Swiss chard and lettuce, they can get away with maybe like 6 hours of sunlight, a little bit less maybe even. And so let me just continue harvesting more of these peppers. And so I have some of these peppers here in the front that I need to pick. Definitely have a lot of red ones. You know, the red ones are a little bit sweeter than the green ones. And so that's why it's also nice to let them sit on the plant here a little bit longer on the vine. Sometimes it can even be a little difficult to pull off the plant. You do want to be careful that you don't break the branches when you harvest these, especially during the growing season. Like here's a nice big pepper. And you got to be careful, you know, you don't miss any because they can be easy to miss. But that's a beauty right there. So let me work my way down here and we'll continue to harvest these. So anyhow, I have a few more here. I actually have a whole lot more on these plants. Right now this basket's pretty full. You can see how many I have in this basket. It's just a beautiful basket of these King Arthur green bell peppers. So anyhow, let me encourage you to think about growing some green bell peppers in your vegetable garden. You can just see how nice of a harvest you can get from having these plants out in your garden. And again, you know, they're so versatile to use in different dishes. And again, one of our favorites is using them in our beans or in our chilies, and where we just dice these up and put them in 1 gallon freezer bags and then store them in the freezer. It really keeps things nice and simple in the kitchen. So anyhow, if you have any questions or comments about this video, feel free to leave them in the section below. And I just want to thank you for joining me today out here in the vegetable garden. So until next time, this is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred. I also went and got my lawn cart and finished harvesting all the peppers that you see there in the picture.